Hi, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us again. Sorry about last week. We actually were on tour last week, so we didn't get to do our normal Zoom call last Monday, but we're doing them again this Monday, and we have two wonderful ladies here joining us today. So just give you the rundown. Our Moms on a Mission is basically Juice Plus moms that are on a mission to inspire healthy living with other moms and other children. And I put together these calls so that we could, I'm just going to mute a line here. I put together these calls so that we could all kind of get to know one another and kind of see where everyone else's mission is, and to share each other's stories and so on and so forth. So my name is Jenny Little, and I live just north of Toronto. And I'm a senior sales coordinator with the Juice Plus company. I've been with the company for almost 2 years now, and I actually joined the company out of desperation. So I was an educational assistant prior to becoming a mom, and I decided to stay home and raise my kids. And in doing that, I found myself completely exhausted. So I'm a mom of 4. My 2 youngest are twins, and when they turned a year old, I was so exhausted that I couldn't get out of bed, and I couldn't go throughout my day without a cup of coffee. So what I decided to do was I decided to, excuse me, I decided to buy a coffee machine for my bedroom, because coffee was the only thing I could think of that could get me through the day. And in doing that, my husband came home and saw the Keurig that I had bought for our bedroom and laughed at me and said, "You can't live off coffee, you need to figure this out." So I reached out to a friend of mine, Alyssa Harriman, and she's a holistic nutritionist. And I had used I solicited her advice during my pregnancy, and certainly during when the boys were young. And I knew she was using this Juice Plus line. So I just kind of asked her, what is this? And she just explained to me, it's, juice fruits and vegetables in a capsule. And I thought, well, that's simple, because we could all use more fruits and veggies. So I decided to order the product, and I ordered the Tower Garden as well, because I've always wanted to have a veggie garden. And I just wasn't able to, at that time, to grow vegetables because I was a busy mom. I actually joined the business only to offset my own cost, only to earn commission back on my own product. And a week later, Alyssa called me and said, "Hey, if you do this and this and sell this or this, you'll get a $300 bonus." And that was really interesting for me, because at this point, my maternity leave had ended, and I wasn't contributing financially to the household, and I really didn't like being in that position. So I thought, well, that was cool. And all I did was help 2 of my friends feel better and get more nutrition into their bodies, and they joined the business as well. And in my first 5 weeks, I got to sales coordinator. In my first 9 months, I got to senior sales, and that's where I am now. So for me, in the business, it only took me a year to replace the income from my previous job as an EA. And it just made sense for me to stay home, because with the twins, it was going to cost me probably my wage to send them to school every day, or send them to a daycare every day. So it made total sense. And in doing this, I've learned so much about nutrition, so much about the body, so much about food. And I've met an amazing women and men all across the world. And our community and our culture is just outstanding. It's just so much more than these, capsules in a bottle, or these shakes. And I'm sure most of you on the call would agree, that are in the business, that it's just so much more than just Juice Plus. The culture and the community is so amazing. So I kind of, my why and the reason for doing this was definitely my boys, to stay home with them. And I kind of am searching a little deeper now, and it's like, what do I want to do? What do I want to do with this? I believe that everything happens for a reason, and we're all called to do something in this life. And, for me, it's, establish breakfast programs for children, so kids don't have to go to school hungry. For me to inspire other moms, to let them know that you don't have to, rely on a man or a job you hate, or a family to raise your children and support them. You can do it on your own. And so my mission has really been to inspire, other people to look a little deeper. I always come back to the same, this one quote that I heard another rep say. She said, don't say no to something you know nothing about. At least check it out and give it, so you can give it a solid no if that's the case. Because in most cases, when people look into what we do, they're just astounded. And I'm sure most of you will agree. So I'm going to unmute Kerry. Are you ready? I'm going to unmute Kerry here. So she can share. Oh, there you are.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I muted myself. My baby was crying in the background.
Oh, and that's the beauty of this is that we can, you know, Tara here has her baby on her lap. You know, there's who's this? Darby over here has her daughter on her. You know what I mean? We're do this with our family and with our kids. It's such an amazing thing. So Kerry, do you want to tell us your product story and your business story?
Sure. So basically, I initially heard about Juice Plus in university. My roommate had it, but I never really thought anything about it or knew what it was. And if we had like a fun night or something, she would just give it to me. So maybe a magical hangover cure. I don't know. And then actually my mom started taking it a few years ago to add to a healthy diet. And she noticed amazing results with her energy levels, how good she felt, and how great she looked that she shared it with me. So I already understood nutrition and healthy living. So it honestly just made sense to me as well. But I hesitated with jumping right into buying it because we were in the middle of building a second house. We had 2 mortgages, a lot of money going out. So I was hesitant about adding on another cost. And my mom kept nagging at me basically as I was newly pregnant at the time. And she kept mentioning that this would be so good for my health and my pregnancy, which I already know that it would be. But eventually she kind of had to pull out the guilt card, which she would do as a mom, and told me that we had no problem on spending more than that on wine or beer or a dinner out in a month. And unfortunately, my husband still smokes. Don't say I said that, but he spends more than that on a month on that. So, but I was hesitant on spending on this. So I'm like, okay, that really doesn't make sense. So I was like, okay, what the heck? I can't really argue her anymore. And I couldn't even drink wine at the time because I was pregnant. So I just finally gave in and said, okay, you know, I might as well start now. And now's the best time to start because I'm pregnant. So I'm really glad that she kind of, in a way, and mom way, guilted me into taking it because I rearranged my priorities, what I spent my money on, and put health first. So with that, like, I had so much energy in my pregnancy. It was really amazing. If anyone knows, well, this is Moms on a Mission, right? So a lot of us will know what it's like being pregnant. You go through stages of being extremely tired. And for me, starting Juice Plus just kicked that in the butt. I had a toddler already, so just having that, oh, my toddler is bouncing down. Just having that extra energy was fantastic. And we were already building a house. Just give me a second. I'm going to see if she can sit on my lap.
No worries.
Olivia, do you want to come down?
And this is what we do. Like, honestly, we can do calls, we can work, and we can yell at our kids at the same time. It's amazing.
I know. We'll see if she comes down. She's freaking out. She's a mommy's girl. Aww. So, where was I? Yeah, so just having that extra energy boost was awesome. We were already building a house. Literally, we were the builders, not someone else. We were in the middle of trying to get our other house ready to sell. I was doing photography, working full-time as a pharmaceutical rep. I was pregnant, looking after a toddler, and the list goes on. So being able to keep up with those demands was much needed. And I also, with my first pregnancy, I was on an anti-nausea medication pretty much the entire time. And with my second pregnancy, I was able to actually avoid being on it once I started on Juice Plus. I did start on the anti-nausea medication, but as soon as I introduced it, I was able to get off of that. And I think just overall having that extra energy and feeling better just really helps with the nausea. So my hand health also greatly improved. I used to have these really dry, itchy hands. They were inflamed, cracked. My husband used to put expensive stocking stuffer creams into my stocking over Christmas, and even those didn't make a difference. He would always bug me that he had such nice hands and that mine were like these 90-year-old hands. And who really wants their husband to have nicer hands than you, right? So when it came to labor and delivery time, that was my delivery was awesome, and my recovery was just so much faster this time. I mean, my labor itself was easier, but I do really attribute the recovery time and less swelling. I attribute that to my good health, and so that was great that I could just walk out of the hospital and keep going. Nobody that in the hospital could believe that I just pushed out a baby. They were wondering, like, why did I feel so good? Why did I look so good? Why was I still looking vibrant? I avoided those hormone crashes post-delivery, which I also attribute to overall my nutrition and feeling good. Whenever you have those healthcare nurses calling, like, they check up on you when you get home, and they also do a follow-up call, and they were actually, it was funny because she was like, why do you sound so great? Like, you sound like you're doing really, really well. And she was so incredibly shocked. She's like, I've never had a phone call with someone that sounds just like they're doing really awesome. So that was great because I just really felt good. Like, I still have my energy. It's like I never skipped a beat. Mm-hmm. Also, my second daughter's skin is like porcelain. She's like a little China doll. And I'm so happy that I was able to nourish her directly from in the womb. So that's really great. So I noticed all these things, but it's kind of funny because none of these things I really expected. I knew that adding an extra boost of nutrition to my diet would just be amazing for me and my growing baby and for my whole family. My husband's on it, my toddler's on it, and my baby gets it through my breast milk, and I've actually started her on the Juice Plus capsules with dumping it in her baby food. But I didn't expect changes. I just knew it would be good for me. And just those physical things that happen were just an extra bonus for me. And I have a science degree, and I understand the science behind things. So I knew that the amazing things that it would do for me at the cellular level for the long term was going to be amazing. I want to be able to run after my grandchildren when I'm older. I don't want to be stuck in that wheelchair, you know? So regardless of anything physical happening, I knew inside things, it was doing amazing things. So that's my product story. Did you want me to jump into my, why I decided to actually do the business?
Yeah. Okay. So how did that come about?
Yeah, so basically, well, in my day job, I'm a pharmaceutical rep, so I work for big pharma, and by night, I inspire healthy living around the world. So I basically call myself an oxymoron because, in the one hand, I talk about medications and I educate physicians about them. And on the other hand, what I'm truly passionate is about getting people healthy to actually avoid taking those medications in the first place. So it's kind of, I'm total opposite side of the spectrum is what I do, but healthy living is my passion. My business story is basically twofold. So first of all, in the years before I went on maternity leave, my company was going through a buyout, which created huge tension and in the company, and everyone was worried about their jobs. We had zero support from our head office, zero support and guidance from our manager. Any sort of bonus money we made was taken away. My partners and I would call each other every day to kind of just complain about everything. And it was a negative space. I was becoming a negative person. And I started to not put any effort into my job. I lost a sense of accomplishment, a sense of self-worth and self-belief. And I really quickly realized that nobody really cared about me in the company, and I was just a number. I craved that positivity in my career life. I didn't need the time freedom. I didn't need the money. I didn't need the flexibility that Juice Plus gives you, this company, but I just needed that positivity. I already had all of that in my career except for the positivity aspect. So I craved something to actually feel proud of myself for, and that's when I approached my friend Michelle about Juice Plus. So I was already loving and taking the product, so I figured, well, why not? So what actually got me was the life that her and her friend Sandy were living. They were living like rock stars. Like, they were traveling, they were living in this weird happy bubble with a whole bunch of other happy people. I mean, honestly, like, I thought, how can loving what you were doing and get it paid for it go together? But they were doing it, and it was the hashtag millionaire mummy in the making that got me. So I'm like, I want to be a part of that. I want to earn money, love what you do, and actually legitimately help people. Like, yeah, sign me up. It's funny, Sandy, my friend Sandy, she's at the point now where she's just like loving everything, and she's helping like thousands of people get healthier. And she's like, you know, she earns gangster money is what she calls it now. Like, that's just awesome. You can actually make a living out of this. Like, really? So, and just being surrounded by such inspirational, positive people in this company, which everybody is, just makes a huge difference in how you feel about everything, about yourself, so it's just amazing. And secondly, my second reason for the business is my family has quite a history of depression and addiction, which has affected many aspects of my family's well-being. And you just never know what curveballs life will throw you, whether it be you lose your job, someone, God forbid, gets sick, depressed, divorced, whatever the case may be. And in these economic times, like right now in 2016, who knows what's going to happen? I really just want to know that no matter what, I'll always be okay, and I'll always be able to support myself, my children, my husband, the rest of my family. I want to know that I can always, always stand on my own 2 feet and never have to have my children worry about that. I really just want to create a solid foundation for my family so that no matter what happens in life, we will financially be okay. And for me, this is the business that will create that residual income to create that security. And I just want my children to live a carefree life. And like, if I'm actually going to be really transparent on this call, my mom gave up her career as a nurse. I think she should be on here tonight if she figured out how. Hi, Mom, if you're here. So she left her country of Northern Ireland so that my dad could continue to pursue his medical career as a doctor. So she left her career as a nurse for him to pursue his career in Canada as a doctor. And she left her mom, her family, her friends, her everything. She got up and left with 4 young children on a plane, the youngest being, I think my youngest brother was only a couple months old. And then when my parents got a divorce, it was so hard to see my mom go through such heartache and struggles, and here's the emotional part, and just wondering what to do now, right? She left her career for too many years, and just, what do you do now? So this route with Juice Plus is just my plan to always have that financial stability. And so that's why I'm doing this.
That's awesome. And you know what? You really touched on a really key thing, because I remember feeling something similar right after the twins were born. I remember feeling like, okay, well, I didn't really have any money coming in, and I had these 2 little boys that were dependent on me. So I was in this situation of, like, Dave could do whatever he wanted. He could cheat on me. And what am I going to do? Where am I going to go? Because I didn't have that. Mm-hmm. And I mean, not that my husband would do any of those things, but I mean, there's so many women that live in a situation of, of abuse or of just an unhappy relationship that they feel like they can't get out of because they've given up a career, or because they've given up, they've moved in with, their spouse or whatever it is, and now they're kind of stuck. So one of the things you touched on early on was your priorities, and how you shifted certain priorities of yours and shifted that into health. So in a sense, a lot of the times when customers come to us and they're like, oh, I just don't have the money, how would you then talk to somebody that whose priorities aren't necessarily in health, so aka alcohol or cigarettes, and how would you then gently say to them, you would feel better if you were to put your money or priority into this, or would you even go there?
You know what? I do. And how I go there is I just share my story. I just, because I was coming from a place where I'm like, I really wanted to start it, but I didn't want the extra monthly cost at the moment because we just had so much going out with 2 mortgages. So I get it. I was there, and so I just share my story, exactly what I said today, just like, oh my gosh, I totally get it. But what I told myself was, when I was hesitant with starting because of the money, we had 2 mortgages going out, blah, blah, blah. I kind of just shifted my priorities. Like, this is what I was spending my money on, and I love to shop as well. So I had no problem spending that on, on a pair of jeans that cost well over $100 or whatever, right? And so I just share my story, and then whenever you plant that seed and you kind of say, like, I had no problem on spending it on wine and dinner, or my husband, spends more than that on smokes in a month. So I just had to reshift my own priorities. And that's how I kind of convinced myself. And then I broke it down into, well, it's only $3 and something a day. I can't even get half a pint of raspberries. So I basically just convinced myself that this is what I'm going to do. I'm just going to shift my priorities. And then when I say that, a lot of people are like, oh my God, you're so right. Like, yeah, I didn't think of it that way. So I share my story, and that's how, instead of being like, you have no problem on spending it, blah, 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 I just say, this was my situation. I totally get what you're saying, because I thought the same thing. And this is, what I did. So
I love that. You're basically validating what they're saying. And then, I felt that same way too. This is what I discovered, and this is what I'm doing now. I do the same thing with coffee. So I spent probably $4 or $5 a day on K-Cups for my coffee machine. And I'm sure if most people were to get a monthly bill from Tim Hortons, they'd be astounded with how much they actually spend there. So
I know. I love my Tim Hortons tea, and I easily spend way more pretty daily than what Juice Plus costs in a day. So yeah, you're so right.
Exactly. So thank you so much, Kerry, for sharing your story with us and being on the call. Next, I want to introduce Jenn. Do you want to unmute yourself, Jenn? Okay, there you go.
Yep, I'm here.
Jenn is a bootcamp instructor, and she is a QNMD in our Juice Plus company. So welcome, Jenn. Do you want to share your product and your business story with us?
Sure. So first of all, I have to apologize for my raspy voice. I teach boot camps, and this is what my voice ends up sounding like, unfortunately, after teaching a lot of classes during the week. So my product story and my business story actually align. They go together. They both started, and I began both journeys at the exact same time. So long story short, my husband used to play professional soccer, and he was traveling all the time. In the summers, we lived in Newmarket, and we decided that we were going to start a soccer camp nearby in the summer to give back to the community. So Melissa Hyde, who actually is on my team, who introduced me to the business, her son Calvin at the time was doing our soccer camp, and every summer we always used to laugh because, like what Jenn was saying before, people really genuinely are so happy at this company. And until you are in it, you can't understand how people can be that happy. And so this woman would always come up to me and, hey, how are you, Jenn? I've got some smoothies for you to try. I've got some gummies for you to try. And I'm a personal trainer. I have a lot of people constantly coming at me from different businesses with different products. And bottom line, I just wasn't interested because I was too busy, right? And that sort of was the big driving factor for me to not have anything to do with the business side of it. Maybe I might take a look at the products, but anyhow, so I had 2 young kids, 4 and 1 at the time, maybe 5 and 2. And I was completely burnt out. I was getting sick all the time. I was cooking amazing meals for my kids, but they were still getting sick all the time. And I just didn't understand what was going on. And so finally, Melissa that summer just said to me, what do you have to lose? It's just fruits and vegetables. Just give it a try. And I said, you know what? You're totally right. I'm going to give it a try. And I'm going to start the business at the same time too, a little bit to offset the cost, but also because of my business and what I do, I knew that I had so many clients that I could share this with and change their lives. People were sick all the time. And we have a program for Juice Plus called Transform 30. And as a personal trainer, we're actually not certified to give anyone a nutrition program or write a meal plan. So this was a no-brainer to me. They've already written a program. I can share it. You get your grocery list. You get your recipes. Literally, it's a no-brainer. They hand it to you on a silver platter. So I began sharing. I shared with two of my best friends in the first month. They both started the product within a week. They're both exhausted moms just like me. All of a sudden, we're like, wow, we're actually feeling good. We're not as grumpy. We're happier all the time. We're sleeping better. And so within the month, I hit sales coordinator, which is it's the highest commission level in the company. It's 22%. And from there, I just thought, wow, this is kind of cool. I'm going to make a little bit of extra income on the side and share some amazing stories. So I continued just sort of dabbling in the business here and there because I didn't really understand that this could be my main business because I already had my job. A lot of women start the business where maybe they're stay-at-home moms or they want to leave their careers, but I already had my career, so I didn't think of it as being my career. So I continued. About a year and a half went by. I was invited to an amazing weekend called Leadership Advancement Weekend, which is out in Whistler. This was when my life changed, and without sounding too cheesy and getting into it, it literally changed. I spent the most amazing weekend with people like Jenn, people who were just like-minded, healthy individuals, wanting to change people's lives and just get people healthy and have fun while doing it and just really enjoy their life, have freedom of time, freedom of money. So I all of a sudden, I sat back one day on Saturday in training and I just thought, oh my goodness, this has been in front of me the entire time. Like this amazing business opportunity that I didn't think of it as a hobby. I just didn't really realize that this could be my sole career. And so I said to my husband, you know what? I came back from this weekend and I said, that's it. I'm changing my ways. I don't want to teach boot camp for the rest of my life. I don't want to personal train for the rest of my life. I want to do a little bit of that and a whole lot of Juice Plus because that's what's going to give me the time to spend with my kids. That's what's going to give me the time to spend with my family. I don't have to work nights. Like right now, you couldn't hear my house, but I just had a boot camp class going on downstairs. Music blaring, right? And I'm normally the one that's down there teaching. So I came back and I shared with the rest of my team and I just said, this is what I want to do. I want people like you to join my mission and I want to have fun working with you. I want to get together and go to coffee dates and plan how we're literally going to change the world. And that's what I've been doing so far. I've hit Qualified National Marketing Director, which is one position from the top. My drive right now is really to hit that top position so that I can really start changing how things work. I've got some pretty cool things planned for me and my team, and there's a benefits package. I don't know if you guys know about that, but we don't have benefits right now. I'm self-employed. So benefits for a family of 5 with 3 kids is amazing. Not to mention there's a tuition program as well. So that kind of caught my eye a little bit also. Jumping around a little bit more back to my pregnancies, I had 3 pregnancies. I had 3 C-sections, an emergency C-section and then 2 other C-sections after that were elected. My last baby was my only Juice Plus baby, and I took Juice Plus for my whole pregnancy. I actually got pregnant with him a month after starting the product, so I was just elated when I found out that I was pregnant and that I already had a month worth of these fruits and vegetables in my body. I took my products to my doctor, and I said, I want you to tell me if this is okay for me taking this when I'm pregnant. I know that I've been told this. And he looked at me and said, this is the best thing that you could be taking hands down, the best thing that you could possibly do for your body while you're pregnant. I had the greatest pregnancy. 4 weeks after my 3rd C-section, I was back teaching fitness classes. Obviously, some things were modified, but like Kerry was saying, I had this crazy energy. It was like I was superwoman. I would wake up and normally go for my coffee, and my husband's like, oh, you have so much energy all the time. And I really genuinely did. I was up, 7, 8 times a night with a brand new baby, solely breastfeeding him, and I had more energy than I've ever had in my entire life, more energy than my first pregnancy in my 20s. And so that was the biggest thing for me. It's like my kids now are never getting sick. If they do, I give them their extra chewies, right, that they love so much, and it's a tiny bit of a cold. I never get sick anymore, and I'm able to have all this energy to help other people get healthy through fitness, but now also through nutrition. So, like I said, my product story, my business story, they really do coincide. And all I can say is that I've never had so much fun in my entire life as I have had in the past 2.5 years. My background is that I actually have my master's in science and education. Fancy way of saying teachers college. The year that I graduated, they just done that huge mass hiring in Ontario. And so there weren't any jobs, which is how I got into personal training and boot camps. And now it's sort of just led me this way. And I believe that everything does happen for a reason without sounding like a cheese ball, but this is what my life is meant to be. I don't know if we're going to end up moving. My husband, with his soccer background, he wants to be, his bucket list is to be a head coach one day, and that could take me right across the world. And this business I can take with me. My boot camp, I can't. I can start over, but that was a big thing too, that, like Jenn was saying, like, no matter what happens, this is something that's yours. It's your baby. It's you as a boss babe, right? Like, you own it. This is your little baby. This is your company. And you can take it anywhere in the world, and you get to choose who you want to work with and where you want to work. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And you know what? You touched on something that's really key. And a lot of people join our business to offset their own cost, or they think it's just like a side income, or it's, it's like selling Tupperware or something like that. But how do you create that vision then for a prospect or a teammate to be like, this could be a career. This is what you could do for the rest of your life. How do you create that vision for them?
For sure. Well, I think a big thing that they always talk about in the business is finding out people's whys. Why do they want to start the business? Why are they intrigued by the business? What are you looking for? And really, I'm all about old school, like sitting down having a coffee, or phoning somebody. Do you remember the phone? So I really am all about that. I've really come out of my comfort zone, and I contact people now, and I just say, hey, you know what? Honestly, I was thinking about you today when I was driving, and this could be a business that I think you could really love. And if you don't want to, if it's not your thing, that's totally cool. But if it is, like, do you want to chat and have a coffee and just let me tell you a little bit about my life? Like, I do this in between other things, whether you do it in between being a mom or having another job or whatever. You do the business when it works for you. And once you start doing the business and start realizing that it just fits into your day-to-day life, like, you don't have to sit there and think, oh man, I'm going to have to put in 8 hours today. No, you're at the gym, you're at the grocery store, you meet another mom, or 3 kids are coughing. It just naturally comes up in conversation. And that's when I meet with my prospects, and I sit down and I just say to them, you like, the more you realize that it just naturally happens, and that so many people, everyone needs more fruits and veggies. It's a really easy concept. People just get it. They understand that this can be a business, and that this can be a lifestyle that they want.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it's funny, I was talking to a friend of mine today, and he said, like, the first time we met, and we met at an event, and I was a vendor for Juice Plus. And he goes, what really stood out to me is you said to me, I'm not here to sell anything. I'm just here to educate people. Mm-hmm. And I think that's all we do, because we don't have to sell anything, because it's like air. You don't have to sell air. We need air. It's fruits and vegetables.
Absolutely.
And I think it's just bridging that gap of, just listen to me for a second while I educate you on something, and then you do whatever you want with it. And I totally come from a place of, like, no pressure. I'm not a salesperson at all. And probably the person that's known me longest on this call is probably Tara. Like, Tara, remember when, 5 years ago, I was like the silent little mouse in the room. And, I'm not a salesperson. I just say, you need fruits and vegetables. This is what it is. It's up to you to decide. Do you know what I mean? It's just about educating and sharing that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think that what's really worked for me, sort of exactly what you're saying. My business has worked really well. When I bring new team on, or even when I'm talking to new team, I let them know straight up what type of person I am to work with, because I think that that's really important too. It's important to realize that you can choose who you want to work with, but they also have to choose you. It's almost like a little job interview, a mutual job interview. And I say, you know what? I'm not going to be that pushy person that's hounding on you all the time. I really am I'm not a detail person, okay? So that is a good thing, that is a bad thing. I'm not a super detail person. I am a tell me what needs to be done and I will go. I think it's just being a mom. That's how we get. We just have like, this much time and we go and we make it happen. And I think that when I bring people on, I always let them know that I'm going to let you know exactly where you're at in the business all the time. I have people set out their goals. My team, we did a great call last week. They all sent me their goals. They're 1 month, 3 month, 6 month, and 12-month goals, both specific and non-specific. This was probably the greatest thing I could have done for my business, along with learning people's love languages. Because every person, whether they were new or they've been on my team for a long time, I was able to have their goals laid right out. And that, as a leader and as a teammate, is so wonderful because you can then help them achieve those goals. You don't have to be the pushy salesperson. You don't have to go, have them a checklist of things that they need to be doing, but you can just help them and be your friend and be there working with them while having fun doing it, right?
Absolutely. And I think also, and you can probably contest this as well, that, in our business, it's very community oriented. Like, we're all sidelines on this call and we all support and we all love and we will always be there for one another. And, a lot of people, I think, feel like they're going to join a business and then it's like, okay, go off and do whatever. And they don't have that constant support. Like if Alyssa hadn't have called me a week later to check in on how I was doing and say, hey, you need to do A, B, C, and then you'll get this, I wouldn't have done that necessarily.
Sure.
Or, do you know what I mean? And I'm the same with my team. So I'll say to my team, hey, you can do whatever you want with it, but this is what you need to do to get to this promotion or to be qualified. And if you need my help, I'm here. And it's a very no pressure thing. It's like, it's up because it's their business. And I think in the last year, I've really learned that, the reps on my team, I'm not their boss. I'm not their anything. It's their business. And I'm just here to help and support them, and it's up to them wherever they go.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that's a really important thing to remember too. It's like you nailed it. You're not their boss. Mm-hmm. I'm going to set you up for success. I'm going to be your buddy and I'm going to be there the entire time along the way with you. And you can message me at any point, at any time, and I'm going to help you. I'm going to guide you. And I think that that's what people really need to know about the support. Like, just really quickly, because I know you need to end the call pretty soon, but when I came sort of back into the business after going away on the leadership advancement weekend, one of the girls on my team said, I really want you to speak with Sarah Beardmore, who lives out in Arizona. She's a sideline. Sarah Beardmore, just so you guys know, hit National Marketing Director today, which is the top position in her company. She's just awesome, total rock star. And so I've never met this girl in my entire life. I phoned her. We were on the phone for an hour and a half. She was telling me about things that work in her business, amazing successes that she's had, different ideas. We just brainstormed for an hour and a half. There's no competition. That's what's so great. No pressure, no competition. And it's like, hey, you know what? I'm here to help you. Call me. It doesn't matter if we're on the same team, upline, downline, sideline. Everybody's really in it to happily watch people succeed. And so that's what I found right off the bat, just like the love and the legit caring from everybody, right? And that's what really kind of caught me, that the support is huge.
Absolutely. The culture and the community. So we have less than a minute. So I just want to thank you, Kerry and Jenn, so much for giving up, 30 minutes of your time. I apologize again for being late on the call.
Oh, that's okay.
And I hopefully this has inspired you guys. And if this has been shared with you and you're not part of the business, definitely reach back to that person and share your thoughts. So thank you, ladies, and I'll have a good day.
Thanks for having us. Okay.